Hello, my name is Jeff Lovejoy. I'm a certified business coach with Action Coach. And today we're talking to Hal Schlenger, who is a healthcare benefits advisor with Great South Benefit Group. Welcome, Hal.
Hey, Jeff, how are you doing?
Doing great, thanks for taking some time to share some ideas with the audience around things you've done during the pandemic to get through it. But let's get started with just tell the audience about what it is you do and what Great South Benefits is all about.
Sure. So I always try to figure out is there a problem that needs to be solved? And the problem is we do need healthcare and we do need to be able to pay for healthcare. And my view is, as far as healthcare goes, is that the whole system is broken. So it's not that the doctors are bad. It's not that we as patients are bad. It's that the system that has evolved over the last several decades has been a real problem. So if you say, I want to take care of myself, I have employees, I just can't afford the healthcare the way it's gone, then I'm in a position to help you understand why it's wrong, why it's so bad. Like, people have no idea about price transparency and what things cost. If I can show you that, then we can start saying, there's numbers, you're a numbers guy. We now have numbers, and then we can start figuring out where the problems are and where the opportunities are. And we typically are able to reduce the cost by 20%, 10 and 20%
Wow.
Per month. And then what's really valuable is not that we did it per month this year, but that we can sustain that next year, as opposed to some people going, oh, this year was a good year. We only had a 3% increase, but then next year it comes back at 10 and 20.
Got it. And so you're not aligned with any carrier, so you're an independent?
Yes, I'm an independent. So Great South Benefits is a 30-year-old agency, and we are independent of any carrier, so we're not an agent. So we can represent both the people that are most familiar, Blue Cross and United and Humana, as well as several other companies, maybe we'll talk about a little bit, that are very innovative, very accountable, very transparent.
Got it. All right, thank you. So how long have you been doing this, Hank? Sorry, how long have you been doing this, Hal?
3 years.
3 years. Got it. Okay. All right.
And just to put it in perspective, because I look like I've been working more than 3 years, I was very much involved in technology in the role of marketing and communications of things that were very disruptive. And to me, it was great to see certain things that we could change, that technology and information allowed to do things better. So when I saw that how bad the healthcare system was broken and living in it, and when I came across some of these solutions, it seemed like this was a great time to shift and do something different.
Interesting. So tell me about the target market. Are you exclusively commercial? Are you commercial and personal? Or are you personal? You mentioned employees. Where's the target?
Target is small business. Yeah, the target is small business. Small business being under 75.
Okay.
And yes, I do work with companies that are 2 people. My view is that something that is disruptive and different, best way to promote it is people who are looking for something different, who are intentionally different, who like innovation, or at least like understanding what it takes to find a real problem. That's kind of what you do, right? Right? It's more about asking the right questions. So if I can find those small businesses, that's great. Now, I do work with individuals. It's not where the money is, but it is where the opportunity can be, where I've seen some people say that their plan that they have at work is bad, or that their company doesn't provide anything, and I'll work with them, solve their problem, and from there it ends up being a wonderful introduction, because now there's firsthand experience.
Sure. Okay. All right. So primarily small business, and if you really get it narrow, is it the larger size of that small, meaning 50 to 75, that's really the sweet spot, or does it not matter as long as it's below 75?
Well, I mean, we do work with, Great South Benefits does work with companies larger than that.
Okay.
I was thinking for this conversation, and where the sweet spot is. The sweet spot is over 20 employees.
Got it. Okay.
When you do get over 5 employees, though, so really, let's look at levels of options. If you're a 2-person, there's not a lot of options, but there are some. If you get to 5, there's a few more options. When you get over 20, there's many more options.
Got it. Okay. Thank you. So what's been the greatest impact on you from the pandemic?
Lack of certainty for what's going on.
Lack of certainty for what's going on. Okay.
In other words,
Explain.
businesses don't know what they need because they don't know necessarily what they're doing. Once you can figure out whether you need to shift or pivot or keep going the way you're going, once that's solved, then we get back to where I fit in. So I have to, and I can share with you that I got involved with with Jared Sobelson, who does property and casualty insurance, because both of us realized that our clients and prospects weren't looking for us right now. When the pandemic hit and people were trying to figure out, what do I do? Where do I go? They were trying to figure out how to make their business survive and thrive. So we backed up and did something on the side that would help the conversations. We're doing a weekly lunch break podcast just to get people connected and kind of free thinking. So we kind of stepped back. So the pandemic wise, first was step back so that the businesses can focus on what they want to be as they come out of the pandemic. And then we can figure out, is there a problem that insurance is going to solve? Are they having trouble retaining employees, recruiting employees? Do they want to take care of their employees? Whatever those things are, that's where health insurance and benefits fit in.
Got it. Got it. But first they got to figure out where they're going, I guess. Is that what you're saying?
We worked with one restaurant. It was so interesting because they found that they could transfer a lot of their business to being takeout online stuff, that they didn't need the staffing. So they needed to take care of their better employees as opposed to a volume of employees.
Got it. Got it. And that, of course, impacts the pricing because, to your point earlier, the smaller you get, the fewer options you have.
Yes.
Got it. Got it. Okay. All right. So what are one or two, you talk about your lunch group, what are one or two other things that you have rolled out or changed in light of the pandemic?
What have we changed? So,
or what have you added, or how have you pivoted? Maybe is a better, you pivot, such an overused word these days, but what have you done to pivot, perhaps, is a better way to ask?
The first thing has been that what we're doing right now, a virtual meeting, has exploded. And for me, it's been fabulous. In the past, getting people to do a virtual meeting, and I can go back 10 years in technology where this stuff has been available, but people just were reluctant to use it.
Interesting.
So you and I both know that whether you're coaching somebody from a business leadership style perspective, or you're presenting an idea, face-to-face contact, reading body language, all those things are so valuable.
Right.
Not to mention they make the whole conversation more efficient. So one way to pivot was, whenever I talk to people now, I don't say, let's set up a call. I'll ask, is it okay that we set up a virtual meeting? And now I've got two advantages. One, I can see body language and you can see me.
Right.
And second, if I want to show you something, like I think this picture is pretty funny, I can do that at a click of a button. And then when you say, okay, that was funny, but it's not that funny, then I can say, okay, well then we'll stop looking at it and change it.
Yep.
So those are the kind of things where we can play with technology we're leveraging. And I think it pushed a lot of people over the hump to say, okay, let's do video.
Got it. Got it. Okay. All right. Are you finding that, well, obviously business has been impacted dramatically by the pandemic. Have you found that business has slowed down because of that, or do they still recognize the need that they have to have insurance and health benefits for employees, so they still need you, but maybe maybe they're smaller, and so the revenue for you is down, or what's been the impact to you other than the virtual?
Yeah. If I can go back and look at the whole shift in the pandemic since March, I used it when I talk to people. I describe the pandemic as the great accelerator. So companies that were doing something that were doing poorly are disappearing.
Yeah.
But nobody's surprised they're disappearing because they weren't very good before. They were just teetering. So they've been their decline has been accelerated. Those people that were trying to do something different, whether they were launching a new product or looking to do something different, their opportunities accelerated. So when I look at that, the need for insurance, that hasn't changed. The need for, and let's go back and say there's insurance and then there's employee benefits. So Jeff as an individual knows he needs insurance. You do that for your car, you do that for your house, and you do that for your body, for your health. Then you look at Jeff as the action coach. Now as a business, you decide, what does my business need to do? And if I have an employee, the most sought after benefit in business has become health insurance. And when you realize that in some cases, health insurance costs more than a mortgage, then all of a sudden, the business being able to provide insurance instead of the individual, there are some real tax benefits and business benefits. So now all of a sudden, companies are realizing if I need to attract good employees or if I need to retain good employees, then it's going to accelerate my need for insurance.
Yep.
So that's again where what I'm seeing is that my pipeline, some of the pipeline has slowed, and I think those people are going to be slow. I didn't know them well enough, and chances are they would have been slow anyway. And others just went right through like nothing happened.
Yeah, got it. And one would think as we come out of this and the hiring starts again, I mean, it's already started, but
Yeah.
the need for having those benefits is gonna mean you're gonna get really busy, because it's a way to add stickiness to a company without paying exorbitant salaries.
I would even say that's an understatement, because some of the tax laws that went into effect in January regarding HRAs, most people know about HSAs,
Yeah.
but the HRA, the health reimbursement account, has created some additional opportunities for employers to attract and retain employees because of the healthcare benefits.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'd not heard of HRA. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it said that smart people learn from mistakes. Have you had any mistakes recent? And the flip side of that is people who aren't quite as smart make the mistakes and don't learn anything from it, and they keep repeating the same mistakes.
Yeah.
Over this pandemic, and maybe even going back further, are there mistakes that you made that you've learned from and have come out more efficient or more successful than you were before the mistake was made?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm a big fan of, although I'm not a big fan of fail fast or fail forward, I do get the concept, and
Yep.
I completely agree with your observation that it's okay to make a mistake, learn from it, and keep going.
Right.
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 I think for me, the mistake was that the benefits of these newer innovative health plans, some which actually align financial incentives the way they're supposed to, so that if the patient, the employees stay healthy, money comes back to the company. That's a new concept for people, and it should benefit everybody. Well, actually, financially, it does, but it requires you to do some things a little bit different. So to answer your question, my mistake was thinking that it was good for everybody, and it's not. There's nobody's service. You have a great program in how you educate and train and listen to people and help them move forward. I think you would agree that it's not for everybody.
Right.
I found that there are certain people that don't like change. or don't like things that may be complex for a moment until we get to the other side. I think the equivalent for you would be if I have to change my behavior or I have to think different, the transition period is hard.
Yes.
But once I get to the new habit, if I can get to the way Jeff wants me to be, then it's going to be great. That's the same thing. So if we can help people, I see my role as a navigator where we explore what the options are, and I'm going to walk you through the changes, and I'm going to be around while we're going through the changes so that they can stop being an issue for you and they just run the way you want them further on. So my learning has been what might be applicable to a lot of people isn't welcomed by a lot of people. So I'm finding the people that are either like innovation, like to think different, like to think, as opposed to I want the same old, same old.
Got it. So are you in some way trying to identify those folks at the very front end so that you don't spend a lot their time and your time going down a path only to find as you're down the path that they're not open to new ideas?
Yes.
Got it. Yeah.
So in my case, I've changed the messaging a little bit, just so that it might appeal to people differently. So I've always said, what was it? This one, the healthcare system is broken. I've said that for years, and people get it. But now with the help of Hip Nation, which is a piece of one of the products I offer, the phrase "intentionally different" works really well. Well, some people don't relate to intentionally different because that's scary. Right? Change is hard for a lot of people.
Right.
So
Right.
if you want, if the things that you don't like about the healthcare system aren't that bad for you, then you don't want something really different. You just want something cheaper. And that's always a question about, is it worth the savings?
Yep. Got it. Got it. So tell people how they can get in contact with you.
Easiest way, besides contacting you, easiest way, Great South Benefits is the website, greatsouthbenefits.com. Hip Nation is another website that I work with, hipnation.com. I'm in LinkedIn, easy to find there. And however I can share contact information, I'm glad to put that out.
Excellent. Thank you. And one last question, Hal. What inspires you these days?
What inspires? I've always enjoyed watching people be better off, better themselves. So when I was in technology, there were certain things that technology could do. And if I could show you how to use it and it made your day easier, day better, that's great. With health insurance, if I can show you how to save money, or part of my solution gives you 24/7 access to a doctor with no copay, so the little things don't become big things, that makes it better. I teach sailing as a kind of a hobby at Lake Lanier, and I get such a kick out of seeing people understand not how a sailboat moves downwind, because we just know it gets pushed, but how does the sailboat go up into the wind? Right? So to me, I enjoy enabling other people to be their best.
Excellent. Yeah, excellent. Excellent. All right. Well, thank you so much for your time. Great insights, Hal, and thanks for sharing your ideas. Appreciate your time.
My pleasure, Jeff. Always good talking to you.
Thank you.
Yeah.